In the vibrant city of Silvervale, Karen, a determined and compassionate documentary filmmaker, is given an extraordinary opportunity to create a documentary on one of the biggest stars of the era, Nimmuel. A celebrated actor and singer, Nimmuel's life seems to be a perfect blend of fame and success. For Karen, this assignment is both exciting and terrifying, as Nimmuel is not just a public figure but also her first love, someone she hasn't seen since their painful separation a decade ago. Karen hesitates but ultimately accepts the project, seeing it as a chance to showcase her skills while finally confronting the ghosts of her past. When the two meet for the first time in years, the air is thick with unspoken words and unresolved emotions. Nimmuel, outwardly cool and professional, tries to act unaffected by Karen's presence. However, beneath his polished exterior, seeing her stirs up memories he thought he had buried long ago. Despite his initial coldness, Karen is determined to approach the project with professionalism. She sets her feelings aside and begins her work, documenting Nimmuel's rise to stardom and his current projects. However, she soon notices cracks in his carefully crafted facade, a hint of exhaustion, a flicker of vulnerability in his otherwise confident demeanor. As Karen dives deeper into Nimmuel's world, she starts to piece together the truth behind his dazzling smile. Through interviews with his staff and a close observation of his daily routine, she discovers that Nimmuel is not only overworked but also harboring a mysterious pain that he refuses to share. Their interactions are tense, laden with unspoken emotions. Karen struggles to maintain her professional boundaries, but Nimmuel's subtle jabs and lingering glances make it clear that he hasn't entirely moved on from their shared history. One evening, as they sit down for an impromptu conversation, the veneer begins to crack. "You still ask too many questions," Nimmuel remarks, trying to deflect Karen's curiosity about his frequent doctor's appointments. "And you still hate answering them," she replies, her voice softer than she intended. The exchange reminds them both of the bond they once had. The unresolved tension between them lingers like a storm cloud, threatening to break. Karen's suspicions about Nimmuel's health deepen when she accidentally overhears a conversation between him and his manager. Though the details are vague, she picks up enough to realize that he is hiding a serious condition. Torn between respecting his privacy and her growing concern, Karen decides to confront him. Nimmuel, however, shuts her out. He insists that his personal life is none of her business, reminding her that their relationship ended long ago. Hurt but undeterred, Karen shifts her focus back to the documentary. As she works, Karen begins to see the immense pressure Nimmuel faces from his fans, his agency, and even himself. The expectations placed upon him are crushing, and she can't help but admire his strength in enduring it all. Yet, her admiration is tinged with sadness, knowing that the cost of his success may be higher than anyone realizes. One afternoon, while filming a segment about Nimmuel's childhood, Karen takes him to a location that holds sentimental value for both of them, the old park in Rosefield, their shared hometown. As they walk through the familiar pathways, memories come rushing back. Karen recalls their youthful days, how they would sit under the oak tree, dreaming of their futures. Back then, Nimmuel had been an aspiring musician with big dreams, while Karen had hoped to become a storyteller who could change lives with her work. As they revisit the past, the emotional walls between them begin to crack. Nimmuel finally opens up, albeit reluctantly, about the toll his career has taken on him. He admits to feeling lost despite his fame and wealth. "Sometimes, I don't even know who I am anymore," he confesses, his voice barely above a whisper. Karen, moved by his vulnerability, offers him words of comfort and encouragement. She reminds him of the boy he once was, the dreamer who believed in his music and his heart. Their connection deepens, but the shadow of Nimmuel's secret illness looms over their budding reconciliation. As Karen continues her work on the documentary, she delves deeper into Nimmuel's life and begins to uncover the darker side of fame. Through candid conversations with his colleagues and close acquaintances, she learns that Nimmuel is not only overburdened by his grueling schedule, but also deeply lonely. Despite being adored by millions, he has no one he can truly confide in. Karen attempts to maintain a professional distance, but her concern for him grows. One evening, after a long day of filming, she finds Nimmuel sitting alone on the balcony of his luxurious apartment, staring at the city lights. Summoning her courage, she joins him. "You know," she begins hesitantly, "being vulnerable doesn't make you weak. It just makes you human." Nimmuel turns to her, his expression unreadable. "You always did have a way of making everything sound so simple," he says, a faint smile tugging at his lips. For a brief moment, the barriers between them seem to dissolve. Karen sees a glimpse of the boy she once knew, the dreamer with an infectious passion for life. But before she can say more, Nimmuel abruptly excuses himself, retreating back inside. Karen's suspicions about Nimmuel's health intensify when she notices him becoming increasingly fatigued during filming. His once vibrant energy now comes in fleeting bursts, leaving him visibly drained afterward. During a shoot at a recording studio, Nimmuel suddenly collapses, sending everyone into a panic. Karen rushes to his side, her heart pounding. Though he insists he's fine, she isn't convinced. Later that evening, she confronts him in his dressing room. "You need to stop pretending everything is okay," she says, her voice firm but laced with concern. Nimmuel avoids her gaze. "It's not your problem, Karen. Just focus on your work." Frustrated but unwilling to give up, Karen begins piecing together the clues. She recalls overhearing his manager mention hospital visits and starts to suspect that his condition is far more serious than he's letting on. While filming a segment about Nimmuel's early career, Karen stumbles upon an old photo album in his childhood home. Flipping through the pages, she finds a picture of them together, taken during their teenage years. The sight of their younger selves, so full of hope and happiness, brings tears to her eyes. Nimmuel catches her looking at the album and silently joins her. For a moment, neither of them speaks, lost in their own memories. "Do you ever regret it?" Karen finally asks, her voice barely above a whisper. "Regret what?" Nimmuel replies, though the look in his eyes suggests he already knows the answer. "Letting us fall apart." Nimmuel's silence is deafening. When he finally speaks, his voice is tinged with regret. "I thought I was doing the right thing. I wanted you to chase your dreams without being tied down by me." Karen is taken aback by his honesty. She realizes that despite their painful breakup, Nimmuel's intentions were never malicious. As Karen and Nimmuel spend more time together, the emotional distance between them begins to shrink. Nimmuel starts to let his guard down, revealing glimpses of his true self, the one hidden beneath the glamorous facade. One evening, during a break from filming, they visit a small diner in the quiet outskirts of Silvervale. Over simple yet comforting food, they reminisce about their shared past. "Do you remember the old bakery near Rosefield Park?" Karen asks with a nostalgic smile. "How could I forget?" Nimmuel replies, "You made me spend all my savings on pastries every Saturday." Their laughter feels genuine, a rare moment of lightness amidst the emotional weight of their reunion. However, the moment is fleeting. As they leave the diner, Nimmuel receives a call from his doctor, which he quickly dismisses. Karen's worry deepens, but she decides to give him space, hoping he'll open up in his own time. Karen's growing concern for Nimmuel leads her to quietly investigate his condition. While reviewing footage for the documentary, she notices subtle signs. The way he leans on walls for support, his pallor under the bright lights, and his moments of disorientation. It's undeniable. Something is seriously wrong. During a shoot at an art gallery, Nimmuel's exhaustion becomes evident. He struggles to keep up with the crew and steps outside for fresh air. Karen follows him, finding him leaning against a lamppost, visibly struggling to catch his breath. "You can't keep doing this to yourself," Karen says, her voice trembling with concern. "I'm fine," Nimmuel snaps, though his weak tone betrays his words. "No, you're not. I've seen the signs, Nimmuel. Please, just tell me the truth." He brushes her off, retreating into the gallery. Karen, undeterred, decides to confront his manager, who reluctantly admits that Nimmuel has a terminal illness but begs her not to disclose it. Devastated by the revelation, Karen struggles with whether to honor his privacy or push him to face reality. Karen becomes more attentive to Nimmuel's needs, offering quiet support without revealing what she knows. She brings him water during shoots, ensures he takes breaks, and subtly adjusts the schedule to lighten his workload. One evening, as they review the day's footage together, Nimmuel notices her newfound gentleness. "You've changed," he remarks, his tone softer than usual. "Maybe I just realized what's truly important," Karen replies, avoiding his gaze. Their conversation drifts to their shared past, and Nimmuel finally opens up about his decision to leave her all those years ago. "I thought I was protecting you," he confesses. "I didn't want my struggles to hold you back." Karen is deeply moved by his honesty. "You didn't have to decide for me," she says. "We could have faced it together." Though neither explicitly mentions his illness, the unspoken understanding between them grows stronger. As Karen continues to work on the documentary, she finds herself pouring her heart into it, determined to create a piece that captures Nimmuel's true essence. She interviews his childhood friends, mentors, and even former co-stars, piecing together a mosaic of his life. One day, she visits his family home in the quiet countryside of Silvervale. There, she meets his younger sister, who reveals the immense pressure Nimmuel has always carried. "He's always been the one to shoulder everyone else's burdens," she says, her voice tinged with sadness. Karen realizes that Nimmuel's illness is not just a physical battle, but also an emotional one. She resolves to be there for him, no matter how difficult it may be. Later, during a quiet moment at the studio, Karen confronts Nimmuel. "You're not alone," she says firmly. "You don't have to carry this by yourself." Nimmuel looks at her, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "You have no idea how much I've missed hearing that," he whispers. As the documentary nears completion, Karen and Nimmuel find themselves spending more time together outside of work. One evening, Nimmuel invites her to a secluded hilltop overlooking the city lights. It's a place he often visited during his rise to fame, a sanctuary where he could escape the chaos of his life. Under the starry sky, they share a quiet moment of reflection. "Do you ever wish things had turned out differently?" Karen asks, breaking the silence. "All the time," Nimmuel admits, "but I've learned to cherish the moments I have, no matter how fleeting they are." Karen takes his hand, her resolve firm. "Then let's make the most of the time we have now. No regrets, no holding back." Nimmuel smiles, a rare genuine expression of happiness. "You've always had it. Way of making everything seem possible," he says. In that moment, they make an unspoken promise to face the future together, whatever it may hold. As Karen and Nimmuel grow closer, Karen begins to notice how Nimmuel pushes himself beyond his limits. Despite his charming demeanor and professional front, the toll of his illness is evident in his weaker moments. She discreetly rearranges their shooting schedules to accommodate his condition while ensuring he doesn't feel patronized. One day, during an emotionally intense interview seen for the documentary, Nimmuel collapses. Panic sweeps through the set as the crew rushes to his side. Karen cradles his head, her heart pounding as she calls for help. In the hospital, Karen sits by Nimmuel's bedside, her mind racing. When he wakes, she finally confronts him. "You can't keep pretending you're fine," she says, her voice breaking. Nimmuel sighs, his vulnerability showing. "I'm not ready to let the world see me like this. My career, my pride, it's all I have left." Karen reaches for his hand. "You have me, and you don't have to face this alone." This moment deepens their bond, but it also leaves Karen grappling with the fear of losing him. She resolves to make every remaining moment meaningful, even as her heart grows heavier. The hospital stay forces Nimmuel to take a short break from filming, and Karen insists on taking care of him. They retreat to a serene lakeside cabin in the countryside of Silvervale, a place where Nimmuel spent his childhood. The tranquility of the location brings a sense of peace. Nimmuel opens up about his struggles, revealing the pain of living a double life. A star admired by millions, but plagued by loneliness and regret. Karen listens intently, her heart aching for him. "You've spent so much time living for others," she says softly. Maybe it's time you lived for yourself. Nimmuel's eyes glisten with unshed tears. It's not easy to let go of the facade, but with you, I feel like I can breathe again. During their stay, they rediscover small joys, cooking together, walking by the lake, and stargazing. These moments strengthen their relationship, giving Nimmuel a renewed sense of purpose. Returning to the city, Nimmuel decides to resume filming but with a new perspective. He's determined to pour his true self into the documentary, even if it means exposing his vulnerabilities. Karen is proud of his courage, but worried about the strain it might cause him. As filming progresses, Nimmuel delivers a powerful monologue about fame, loss, and the fleeting nature of life. His raw honesty captivates everyone on set, including Karen. However, the emotional toll leaves him physically drained. Karen starts noticing changes in his behavior, moments of dizziness, slurred speech, and an increasing reliance on medication. Despite his insistence on continuing, Karen pulls him aside. "Nimmuel, you're pushing yourself too hard," she pleads. "I can't stop now," he replies. "This documentary is my legacy, Karen. It's the one thing I can leave behind." Karen is torn between respecting his wishes and protecting his health. She confides in his manager, who shares her concerns but admits that Nimmuel's determination is unshakable. As the documentary nears completion, Karen and Nimmuel share a quiet evening on the rooftop of their building, overlooking the sparkling city lights. The weight of unspoken feelings hangs in the air. "Nimmuel," Karen begins, her voice trembling. "I need you to know something. You've changed my life in ways I can't even begin to explain." He turns to her, his gaze soft yet intense. "Karen, you've always been the light in my darkest moments. Even when I pushed you away, you stayed." Tears well up in Karen's eyes. "I stayed because I love you, Nimmuel. I've always loved you." Nimmuel is momentarily speechless, his emotions overwhelming him. He cups her face gently, wiping away her tears. "Karen, I've loved you from the moment I first saw you, but I was too afraid to hold on to you, too afraid of what I might put you through." Karen places her hands over his. "Don't push me away anymore. Let's face this together, no matter how hard it gets." Under the starry sky, they share a tender kiss, sealing their mutual love and commitment. For the first time in a long while, Nimmuel feels a sense of peace and belonging. As Nimmuel and Karen settle into their new phase of openness, the documentary's filming reaches its emotional climax. Nimmuel decides to film a heartfelt message for his fans, one that shares his struggles and reflects on his life. Karen watches him rehearse, her admiration for his bravery mixed with her growing worry about his deteriorating health. The pressures of the project weigh heavily on Nimmuel. One evening, after an exhausting day of shooting, he collapses again. This time, it's more severe. Karen rushes him to the hospital, where the doctors confirm his condition is worsening faster than anticipated. Despite his weakened state, Nimmuel insists on completing the documentary. "Karen, I don't want to leave anything unfinished," he says, his voice trembling. "This is my truth, and I need to share it." Karen's heart aches, but she supports him. She promises to stay by his side, no matter what happens. Their bond deepens as they face the looming shadow of his illness together. During the filming of a pivotal scene, Nimmuel's estranged father, Joseph, unexpectedly shows up. The confrontation is tense, with Joseph expressing regret for abandoning Nimmuel years ago. "I left because I thought it was best for you and your mother," Joseph explains. "You didn't leave for me. You left for yourself," Nimmuel retorts, his anger barely contained. Karen intervenes, gently encouraging Nimmuel to listen. She reminds him that forgiveness could bring peace, even if it's difficult. Nimmuel reluctantly agrees to have a private conversation with Joseph. Their conversation is raw and emotional. Joseph apologizes sincerely, sharing how he struggled with guilt over the years. While Nimmuel doesn't fully forgive him, he decides to let go of his resentment. The encounter leaves Nimmuel emotionally drained but strangely lighter. Karen consoles him and he admits, I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that." As the documentary nears completion, Karen notices Nimmuel growing more withdrawn. His episodes of fatigue become more frequent, and he begins hiding his pain from her. Determined to shield her from his suffering, he starts distancing himself emotionally. Karen, however, refuses to be pushed away. One night, she confronts him. "You think I don't notice what you're doing?" she asks, tears in her eyes. "I told you I'm not leaving. Stop trying to protect me by shutting me out." Nimmuel breaks down, admitting his fears of leaving her alone. "I don't want you to watch me fade away," he confesses. "You deserve someone who can give you everything, not someone who's running out of time." Karen holds him tightly, her voice firm yet gentle. "What I deserve is to be with the man I love, for however long we have. Don't take that away from me." Their conversation renews their connection, but the reality of Nimmuel's condition continues to loom over them. The day of the documentary's premiere arrives, a bittersweet milestone for Nimmuel and Karen. The event is held in a grand theater in Silvervale, attended by industry elites, fans, and friends. The atmosphere is electric, but Karen can sense Nimmuel's anxiety beneath his composed exterior. As the documentary plays, the audience is captivated by Nimmuel's raw honesty and emotional depth. The film delves into his struggles, triumphs, and regrets, painting a vivid picture of a man who lived with passion despite his flaws. Karen watches from the sidelines, her eyes welling with tears. She sees Nimmuel through the eyes of his fans, brave, vulnerable, and deeply human. After the screening, Nimmuel takes the stage to a standing ovation. He delivers a heartfelt speech, thanking his fans, the crew, and especially Karen. "This documentary isn't just my story," he says. "It's a testament to the people who believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself." The night ends with Nimmuel and Karen sharing a quiet moment under the stars. "We did it," Karen whispers, her hand intertwined with his. "No," Nimmuel replies, his voice filled with gratitude. "You did it. You gave me the strength to finish." Their love feels unshakable, but both know the hardest part of their journey is yet to come. As Nimmuel and Karen return to their routine after the documentary premiere, the emotional high is replaced by an unshakable tension. Nimmuel grows quieter, his gaze often distant. Karen suspects he's hiding something, and her intuition proves correct when she overhears a conversation between Nimmuel and his doctor. "Your condition is progressing faster than expected," the doctor warns. "We need to prepare for what's ahead." Karen confronts Nimmuel later that evening. "Why didn't you tell me?" she demands, her voice trembling. "I didn't want to burden you more than I already have," Nimmuel replies, guilt evident in his eyes. Karen's frustration boils over. "I'm not here out of pity, Nimmuel. I'm here because I love you. Don't you understand that?" Nimmuel pulls her into a tight embrace, whispering, "I'm scared, Karen. I don't want to leave you." This vulnerable moment strengthens their bond, but it also reinforces Karen's resolve to make every moment count. Karen decides to help Nimmuel live out his dreams while he still can. She creates a bucket list based on their conversations and past memories. "We're going to do everything you've ever wanted to do," she declares with determination. Their adventures take them on a whirlwind journey across different parts of the countryside. They visit the cliffs of Silvervale, where Nimmuel always wanted to paint the sunset. Karen helps him set up his easel, and together they create a masterpiece, blending their strokes on the canvas. Next, they visit a bustling carnival, where Nimmuel wins Karen a stuffed bear at a shooting booth. The joy on his face makes Karen momentarily forget his illness. Their most emotional stop is a quiet beach where Nimmuel spent his childhood summers. As they watch the waves crash against the shore, he confides, "I used to come here when I felt lost. It always felt like the ocean was listening." Karen squeezes his hand, her voice soft. "It's listening now, Nimmuel, and so am I." Their joyful escapades come to a halt when Nimmuel collapses again, this time in the middle of a crowded square. Karen rushes him to the hospital, her heart pounding with fear. The doctors deliver devastating news. Nimmuel's time is running out, and his body is becoming too weak to handle even small exertions. Karen refuses to accept this reality, begging the doctors to explore alternative treatments. Nimmuel, however, has come to terms with his fate. "Karen," he tells her from his hospital bed, his voice barely above a whisper, "I don't want to spend the rest of my life in hospitals. I want to be with you, somewhere we can make memories." Karen struggles to hold back her tears. "Then that's what we'll do," she promises. Karen arranges for Nimmuel to be discharged and takes him to her family's countryside home, a serene and picturesque location surrounded by rolling hills and blooming flowers. They spend their days reminiscing, cooking simple meals, and reading poetry under the stars. Nimmuel, despite his weakening state, insists on helping Karen plant a garden. "I want to leave something that will keep growing, even when I'm gone," he says with a bittersweet smile. One evening, as they watch the fireflies dance in the twilight, Nimmuel surprises Karen with a small ring. "I know we may not have forever," he begins, his voice shaky, "but will you marry me, Karen, even if it's just for a little while?" Tears stream down Karen's face as she nods. "Yes, Nimmuel, 1,000 times yes." They hold each other under the starlit sky, their love defying the cruel reality they face. For the first time in a long while, they feel a sense of peace, knowing that whatever happens, their love story will endure. Karen and Nimmuel's wedding is a small, intimate affair held in the garden they planted together. The flowers, now blooming in vibrant colors, serve as a backdrop for the ceremony. Close friends and family gather, their smiles laced with bittersweet emotions. Nimmuel, though visibly weaker, manages to stand as Karen walks down the aisle in a simple, yet elegant white dress. Her eyes glisten with tears as she approaches him. "You look beautiful," he whispers, his voice trembling with emotion. The ceremony is heartfelt and raw, with vows exchanged that reflect their deep love and the fleeting nature of their time together. "I promise to love you with all that I am, for however long I have left," Nimmuel vows. "And I promise to carry you in my heart, even when you're no longer by my side," Karen responds. As they kiss under the twilight sky, their loved ones shower them with flower petals, celebrating a love that defies time and circumstance. After the wedding, Karen and Nimmuel embark on a quiet trip to a secluded cabin by the lake, fulfilling the final wish on Nimmuel's bucket list. The cabin, surrounded by towering pines and the serene waters of Crystal Lake, becomes their sanctuary. The days are slow and peaceful. They spend their mornings fishing, afternoons painting, and evenings wrapped in blankets by the fireplace. Nimmuel's health continues to decline, but his spirits remain high in Karen's presence. One evening, as they sit on the porch watching the sunset, Nimmuel opens up about his fears. "Karen, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of leaving you alone." Karen squeezes his hand, her voice steady. "You're not leaving me. You'll always be here," she says, placing his hand over her heart. As the stars blanket the sky, Nimmuel surprises Karen with a journal he's been keeping. "It's for you," he says, "so you'll never forget how much you mean to me." Nimmuel's condition worsens significantly, and Karen knows their time is nearing its end. She dedicates herself to making him as comfortable as possible, reading to him, singing his favorite songs, and holding him through the pain. One night, Nimmuel wakes Karen, his breathing shallow but his eyes bright. "I had a dream," he says. "We were dancing under the stars. Let's make it real." Despite his frailty, Karen helps him outside, where they sway gently under the moonlight. The moment is both beautiful and heartbreaking, their silent dance a testament to their love. The following morning, Karen finds Nimmuel still holding her hand, his expression peaceful. She realizes he has passed away in his sleep, leaving behind a profound sense of loss, but also an. Nimmuel's condition worsens significantly, and Karen knows their time is nearing its end. She dedicates herself to making him as comfortable as possible, reading to him, singing his favorite songs, and holding him through the pain. One night, Nimmuel wakes Karen, his breathing shallow but his eyes bright. "I had a dream," he says. "We were dancing under the stars. Let's make it real." Despite his frailty, Karen helps him outside, where they sway gently under the moonlight. The moment is both beautiful and heartbreaking, their silent dance a testament to their love. The following morning, Karen finds Nimmuel still holding her hand, his expression peaceful. She realizes he has passed away in his sleep, leaving behind a profound sense of loss, but also an enduring legacy of love. In the days following Nimmuel's passing, Karen struggles to adjust to life without him. The house feels empty, and the weight of his absence is overwhelming. However, she finds solace in the memories they created and the journal he left behind. As she flips through its pages, she discovers a letter addressed to her. "Karen, if you're reading this, it means I've left you in the physical sense, but know that my love for you will never fade. Thank you for making my life extraordinary, for giving me joy when I thought it was impossible. Live your life to the fullest, Karen, and don't let my absence hold you back. You carry my heart with you always. Yours forever, Nimmuel." Karen takes these words to heart. She channels her grief into completing the garden they started together, planting flowers that symbolize hope and resilience. She also decides to publish Nimmuel's paintings and their love story in a book, ensuring his memory and their journey inspire others. The book becomes a bestseller, touching hearts worldwide. Years later, Karen visits the lake cabin, now a retreat for artists, carrying a bouquet of flowers from their garden. Standing by the water, she whispers, "I miss you, Nimmuel, but I know you're with me." As the wind carries her words across the lake, a single butterfly flutters by, and Karen smiles, feeling his presence in the breeze. Months after Nimmuel's passing, Karen works tirelessly to complete the garden they started together. Each plant she places feels like a conversation with him, each flower blooming as a tribute to the love they shared. The garden becomes a sanctuary, not just for Karen, but for others seeking solace and inspiration. One afternoon, Karen receives an invitation to speak at a literary event honoring influential love stories. Her book, Love Beyond Time, has become a phenomenon, resonating deeply with readers. Despite her initial hesitation, she accepts, recognizing the opportunity to share Nimmuel's legacy with the world. At the event, Karen takes the stage, holding a single lily from their garden. Her voice trembles as she begins, "This is not just a story of love. It's a story of hope, resilience, and finding light, even in the darkest moments." She recounts their journey with heartfelt honesty, weaving in anecdotes about their struggles, triumphs, and the profound lessons she learned from Nimmuel. The audience is moved to tears, and Karen feels a sense of closure, knowing that their story has touched countless lives. After the event, a young artist approaches Karen with a sketchbook in hand. "Your story inspired me to start painting again," he says, showing her a drawing of a butterfly surrounded by flowers, a symbol of hope and transformation. Karen smiles, seeing Nimmuel's influence ripple through others. On the anniversary of Nimmuel's passing, Karen returns to the lake cabin, now transformed into an artist retreat named Eternal Bloom, in honor of Nimmuel's work and their garden. The retreat has become a haven for creators, a space where love and beauty thrive. Karen spends the day reflecting, walking along the lake's edge as the sun sets. She carries the journal Nimmuel left her, flipping through its pages once more. His words, filled with love and encouragement, bring her comfort. As the stars emerge, Karen lights a lantern and sets it afloat on the lake. "Thank you for everything, Nimmuel," she whispers. "You taught me how to love and how to live." Just then, a butterfly lands on her shoulder. Its delicate wings shimmer in the moonlight, and Karen feels a familiar warmth. Tears stream down her face, but they're accompanied by a smile. "You're here," she says softly, feeling his presence as though he's reassuring her. Karen spends the night writing in the journal, penning her thoughts and dreams as if speaking to Nimmuel. She vows to continue living fully, carrying his memory with her as a source of strength. The next morning, Karen wakes to find the butterfly perched on a nearby flower, as if waiting to see her off. She takes a deep breath, feeling lighter than she has in months. The world, though changed, feels full of possibilities. Karen decides to expand her book into a series, exploring themes of love, loss, and resilience. Through her words, she keeps Nimmuel alive in the hearts of readers, ensuring his spirit continues to inspire. As Karen leaves the cabin, the butterfly takes flight, dancing in the sunlight. Karen watches until it disappears into the sky, a symbol of love's eternal nature. She knows that while Nimmuel is no longer physically with her, he remains a part of her story, a guiding presence as she moves forward. The garden, the book, and the retreat stand as living testaments to their love, reminding the world that some bonds can never be broken. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more delightful stories.